Yo, 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 yo. What's the deal? What's the deal? What's going on, people? Peace and love. Peace and love. Give me a second. Getting it together. Long night, heavy night. Story of my life. It's a beautiful thing though. Because yeah, life is life, right? And as long as we're alive, we living. And as long as we are living, at some point we're going to transition. We're going to die. Yesterday was heavy to say the least. Heavy is a good word, and that's the least of it. But yesterday was extremely heavy. One second. Yeah, heavy day yesterday. Heavy day. But we're here. We're still here. We're still alive, right? We still got breath in our bodies. As long as we are living, as brother Mustafa knows, as long as you're living, you are legendary. As long as you are living, you are legendary. Yeah, we are still here. Whew. But heavy is the word. Heavy is the word. Yeah, man. Tifu Sankofa. Peace and love, brother. Peace and love. Yeah, my eyes are heavy still. Crying so much yesterday. Definitely didn't get to sleep till really late. Probably need a nap after this. Definitely gonna be out today in the sun, light. Man, what a day, what a night, what a life. But yeah, let's we're gonna jump right into this thing, man. Once again, I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Marston. This is episode 656 of SRDaily. All right, episode 656. We're going to start today's show with a quote of the day. Today's first segment is a quote of the day. Today's quote says, "The only thing promised in life is death." The only thing promised in life is death. And yeah, that's something I've heard a great majority of my life from my mother and so many other black folks. Right? The only thing promised in life is death. And talking to dear brother of mine yesterday, sharing a moment, crying and shit together. Was like, should we talk about it more? All right. Should we prepare for it mentally, emotionally? Right. Prepare our children for it, prepare our loved ones for it, like have those conversations. I've said on the show before, growing up, my mother used to play dead, like lay down and not move and then just jump up and scare us, right? Until she was dead, I would move her, start tearing, getting emotional. Ma wake up, and then she would jump up. And she'd be all right. And then separately, whenever I would be like, yo, when you die, when I die, if I die, she'd be like, oh, don't talk like that. And it was so confusing because you just played that, but I can't talk about when. And she's the one who told me, like, the only thing promised to us in life is death. First person I heard it from. And so you could play dead, but I can't talk about when you die, when I die, if this person dies, right? Not only is it confusing, but it lacks awareness, right? Because when you talk about it, you could like talk about it, like, because nobody talked about death with me. I had such an extremely difficult time with my father's transition. If someone would have talked about death, if we would have had those conversations, I don't think things would have been as difficult, right? Especially if we would have talked about it with truth. Like, if my dad would have been like, yo, life is not forever. One day I'm not going to be here anymore in the physical realm, but when I'm not here in the physical realm, I'm always going to be with you spiritually. I'm going to be in your mind. You are me. My skin will become your skin, right? Your skin is my skin. Your breath is my blood, right? I think having that discussion makes a huge difference, which is why I've had those discussions with my children, right? We talked about, again, I mentioned the show before, when my brother Anthony transitioned in 2018, whose birthday was just a few days ago, right? He transitioned in 2018. That's one of the things that I spoke to them about, because they were like, "Where's Uncle Anthony?" And I was like, "He's not here no more." Like, "Where did he go?" And I'm like, he just gave me because I was quiet for a moment, but it gave me a great opportunity. Where did he go? And then we started talking about superpowers, and I was like, if you had one superpower, um, what would it be? And I think my son said run fast, um, or jump high. And my daughter said run fast, something like that, right? And I was like, those are great. I said, what if you could be invisible? What if you could leave your body whenever you wanted and go anywhere and everywhere at the same time? What if you could leave your body whenever you wanted and go anywhere and everywhere at the same time? And they're like, wow, that's powerful. And I was like, yeah, Uncle Anthony became a superhero, right? He left his body. He's everywhere. He's inside of you. He's inside of me. He's inside of all of us. He's around us. He's in the rain. He's in the clouds. He's in the animals. He's in the trees, right? I was able to have that discussion with them. Tell them that, something that, again, I learned much later in life. And so, once I learned it, dealing with transitions became not so much, it became a lot easier to deal with, easier to process, because I understood life is truly everlasting and it is eternal. And I didn't have that knowledge as a child. And if I would have had that knowledge as a child, me, right, the way I understand things, I would have grasped it, and it just wouldn't have been as difficult. But yeah, and so talk about death, man. Talk about transition. Like, let your children know, like, if you're a parent, like, you're not going to be here one day. And so live like it, right? Live fully, love deeply, love freely, right? Love passionately, live passionately. Um, and know that, like, any moment it could be over for you or someone else. All right. You, your children, your spouse, your parent, sibling, best friend. Um, there's no guarantee you're going to see people. And I think I mentioned also on the show, when that really started coming into consciousness, or I really started, even before I became a dad, started talking about that. My niece, I was living in Long Island, all right. My nephew was living with me, right? My nephew and I were living together, and his children. And I was leaving one day, and my nieces, my grandnieces, were like, "See you later, let's see you later." And then it hit me. I was like, "What if I don't see you later?" And I was like, "Yo, I love you." And I just made sure, like, from that day forward, as much as I possibly could, to let people know when I was leaving their presence that I loved them, that I cared about them, because it was no guarantee that I would see them again later. I've experienced it too much, right? Literally seeing a friend and going upstairs and coming back, and that friend is dead. It was a shootout, or this happened, or that happened, or it's like, what the fuck? I told you guys a story about my dad. I went away to Fresh Air Fund, right? He graduated. I graduated elementary school. He took my friend and I out to Sizzler, our spot back then. Dropped me off at my mom. Dropped us off, right, by my mom. He went to work. The next day, early morning, my mom took me to the bus. I think he drove us or something like that. Either he drove us or he was asleep, something, I don't know, but because we might have taken the train. I don't remember that part, but I remember him dropping us off and going to work, and like, it was no communication the next day, right? Or little communication. I can't remember exactly, but I went to Fresh Air Fund, and this is the end of June, and by a month later, he passed away. And they brought me back from Fresh Air Fund from sleepaway camp, and was like, "Yo, your dad passed." And I was like, "Holy shit!" That shit broke me. All right, so, like, literally here today, going tomorrow. I had no idea my dad was ill. I had no idea of nothing. So yeah, man, we should definitely, as humans, talk about transition a lot more than we do. Right? As individuals, for ourselves, right? Like, come to grips with, like, life not being, like, this physical life not lasting forever, maybe not lasting as long as you may want it to, right? For multiple reasons. And people transition when they're young, man. Everybody doesn't live to be 70, 80, 90, 100. People leave as babies, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, right? There's no tomorrow, literally, is not guaranteed. And so I'm feeling that today. Although I know that it still has an impact, right? Thank you, peace on your dad. So I appreciate that, right? But yeah, that's the quote of the day, man. The only thing promised in life is death. So let's talk about the shit. All right, let's go right along now to our second segment of the day. Today's second segment, I need to know news. And the reason I brought that up, and I got goosebumps as I'm starting to even think about it. The reason that was the quote of the day, because yesterday was heavy. As I mentioned, 2 people from my neighborhood transitioned yesterday. At least 2 people that, I know and love, that are beloved by the whole neighborhood. Two people, completely separate. It wasn't like an accident. It wasn't like but yeah, yesterday 2 people transitioned. Shanae. So first, I don't believe in coincidence. Before I even get into it, I don't believe in coincidence. I am the type of person that likes to think that the times, the dates matter. All right, every single thing has a purpose. I think everything is divine and every single thing is connected. All right, every single thing is divine and every single thing is connected. Yeah, I don't think coincidence exists. I think that a fucking cow could fall out the sky before I will believe that something was a coincidence, a coinkydink, as they say, right? But Shanae transitioned. Shanae was my sister's childhood friend, one of my sister's first friends in Queensbridge. All right. I grew up with Shanae just like I grew up with my sister. She was at the crib. I was at her crib. Yeah, Shanae, one of my sister's closest friends, my sister Chantel, my older sister, one of her closest friends, dearest friends, a sister to me. All right. She transitioned 46, 47 years young. Cancer, man. A few days ago, I got the news that she had about a week left to live. I knew that, we knew that she was battling cancer for a while. And I knew that she had about a week to live. And my sister drove up from Maryland to be with her friend. Spent, a bunch of them drove up, man. They drove up. They made time to be with her. She was in hospice in the hospital, and she was surrounded by love, right? She was surrounded by love. She was surrounded by her cousins and her mom, and her son was there, I believe. And right, but damn, like, then I'm talking to her sister yesterday. Her sister hits me up. She's like, "Yo, I saw your sister's friend pass, the girl Shanae," and I was like, "Yeah." So we was going back and forth, and she's like, "Yo, she sent me a screenshot of a message that she sent my sister a couple of years ago, right? Because she's been dealing with this cancer for a couple of years, and said she offered, some herbs, right? It was like, yo, do you think she'd be interested, like, in taking some herbs? I think I could help her reverse that cancer." And she was like, it was no follow-up though, so I left it. And I was like, yo, I told her too. I told Shanae, I was like, yo, like, we could reverse that cancer. And when I heard she got cancer, and it first came out, and everybody was saying she got cancer. Like, I was like, okay, like, I've seen people reverse cancer. I've seen people beat cancer, right? Like not the standard American way, right? Not through chemo, not through, like, people have done it like that, but that rate is lower. I've seen people do it through herbs, right? Which, in my perspective, that has been a higher rate, right, of reversing cancer through natural herbs, lifestyle change, diet change, and things like that, man. But I told Shanae, and she just was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get back to you." And a couple of years ago, man, it was nothing, and I didn't stress it either. So it's heavy, man. Like, and then to see the memories, like, see so many photos and videos and people being, people posting about her. It's like, wow, this shit is real. Shanae transitioned, right? Yeah, she was surrounded by love, and that's and it's always good to know that. It's always good to know somebody who you love, right? Was surrounded by love when they transitioned, whether you were there or other people who loved them were there. So that was one thing, and then the other shit, man, my elder Robert Harvey transitioned as well. 82 years young. Robert Harvey was an absolute legend. Robert Harvey was a brother, my big brother, an uncle, right? Uncle figure and a father figure, like, all in one. Started out just as a friendship, became a brotherhood, became uncle nephew, became father figure, and became mentor and mentee. And he's the oldest person, 40 years my senior, that called me his mentor. It's crazy shit, man. just the love that he gave me. I've spoken about him before. I've posted so much about him. We've had so many memories over the last 15 years, 16 years since 2010, 2009, when we really connected. He's been from my neighborhood for a long time. A lot of my sister generation grew up with him. He did the first computer program in the neighborhood in the 80s. He did the first photography program in the neighborhood, right? He's the reason I know Kimati Deni Zulu, right? Kimati, Nana Yao Kimati Deni Zulu. He's the reason I know about Nana Yao Paro Deni Zulu, and Alice. I can't remember Kimati's mother's name, but anyway, Kimati he transitioned a few years ago as well. Kimati was a world-renowned drummer, Akon chief, right? Had a museum, an African cultural museum in South Jamaica, Queens, the Ames of Madzawi Cultural Center. Kimati was fucking phenomenal, man. Absolutely talented, but he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He's the reason I know him, right? Harvey's the reason I know so many people. He's the reason I know Andy Walker. Andy Walker, also from Queens. So Kimati lived in Queensbridge for a while. Kimati was from, I forgot where he was from. I think they moved from Africa. They lived in Harlem. He ended up moving to Queensbridge for a while. So many connections because of Harvey. But Andy Walker from Queensbridge. Andy Walker lived an incredible life. Andy Walker made the NBA. He was on the Utah Jazz, I believe, in the 70s, I want to say, maybe. A long time ago, Andy Walker made the league. Andy Walker became a councilman in Niagara Falls. He also became a police chief in Niagara Falls. Crazy shit, man. But I know so much. I've learned so much because of Harvey. I've connected with so many people because of Harvey. Harvey was, again, probably the most prolific person I've ever met. In his 70s, he became a new author. Right, again, lived many lives, man. He showed me photos and told me stories about how he was a broker. He was on Wall Street, and he thought that was his future. And then he had a nonprofit. When he came to Queensbridge, he had a nonprofit, Activation Foundation. This is in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. Incorporated. He showed me photos of his first check from Citibank, $500 check. Did so much shit. Again, first computer program, first photography program. He used to do the concerts in the park, honored by Mayor David Dinkins, right? He showed me so much. He's done so much. And then later in life, he said he got the call. Spirit called him to write a fucking book, right? Leaving the homie, right? Folklore, right? But mixed in with real life mixed into the folklore, man. I got 3 copies of that book, right? Got his first copy when he first got the book. Before he even got the book, I paid for the book, got an autographed copy, and then he revised it, changed the cover, and I got 2 more copies of that shit, right? Him an author at 70, man. And even just a few months ago, I was telling him, like, one of the things I love the most about him is that he was still striving to grow, even as a writer, right? I'm not a good writer, and he was working on being better, and he was finally realized, like, yo, I'm a badass writer. Like, he came to that, like, yo, I'm really fucking good. Going back to my work, like, I'm writing, and I'm just the way I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker. Yeah, man, that one, like, in 2 separate transitions, 2 separate things, right? But that shit hit me yesterday, like, and I knew Harvey was transitioning, right? We knew Shanae was transitioning. We knew she had cancer. It was getting worse. It wasn't getting better. She was still doing the same things. Harvey, just in the last month or 2, right? Elder was like, yo, like, you see Harvey? I was knocking on his door. He ain't answer the door. Is he home? Like, say, okay, I ain't seen him. And so I text him, no response. I called him, no response. Called his house number, cell number, no response. I text his fucking daughter. I got his daughter's number. I texted, what's up with your father? We jumped on the phone. We spoke. She's like, yeah, he's just giving up, right? He said it's over. He said his time is coming soon. He said he laid in the bed. He stopped eating, and he was ready to be on his way out. It's like, oh shit. And she was like, my daddy's stubborn. He doesn't want to go to the hospital. He doesn't want to, he didn't want to know what was wrong. He didn't want, like, nothing. He just was like, he just laid there. It was like, and so I was like, well, I want to see him. She was like, oh, he doesn't really want to see anybody. I was like, I want to see him. Please tell him I want to see him. And so the next morning, I guess, right, she told him, and he texted me. He texted me in a beautiful message. Young brother, please hold on to the memories, right? Remember the good times. Said me not seeing you is more for your sake than mine. I will always love you, right? Nice message, man. It was like, please don't try and contact me. And I responded to that message, and I was like, if it's for my sake, then I would want to see you. I don't care what you may look like. I don't care what anything else, right? I would want to see you. You are a father to me, right? I would want to be there, just like your daughters want to be there with you. Your last breath, I would want to be there with you and them. And so he didn't respond to that message. And then the next day, it was just on my heart. I just sent him another message. Like, I just had to let him know how much I love him. Let him know that he saved my life. I was like, I don't know where I would be or what I'd be doing if not for your love, care, support, encouragement, hype, and safe space, man. Listen, when I was going through my divorce, I was at that brother's crib even before actually going through the divorce, in the marriage, right? Things would be tough. I would be at his house talking. We would talk about the shit I was dealing with and just about all of life in general, all of my ideas, all of my fucking creative ventures, man. So many conversations. Like, he understood me, understood my vision, my dreams, my goals, man. He spoke life into me, right? Like, probably my biggest supporter. Came to so many things that I did, even when he didn't want to, right? He was like, yo, you the fucking man, right? When I tell him I'm doing shit, like, I'm not surprised. Yeah, he had big dreams for me, big vision for me. Yeah. So, yeah, that was just a reality, right? Like, you're not gonna see somebody no more. All right, like, I just seen him, and he came to my birthday party, right, in March. He was the first person that came. He came before everybody else came. Right, they was having my birthday party, March 14th. He came. Yeah, man. Yeah. So let's move right along to our third segment of the day. Today's third segment, our tip of the day. Today's tip is, again, this whole show is following this theme. Give people their flowers so they can still smell them, right? Again, I gave Harvey his for sure every time we connected in person, and even our final text messages, as I just mentioned, right? I told him I loved him. I saved my life. Told him exactly what he meant to me, man. And so I'm content, right? Like, it's tough, but there's no, like, the only wish is that I would have been able to be in a financial position where I could have took him to Africa. That's what he wanted to. He wanted to go to the motherland, right? His book is about is leaving the homie. It's West Africa. He told me about the homie, right? Like, told me so much about Africa. He's never been, just from his research, and yeah, he told me so much, man. He gave me so fucking much books and yeah, so much. But yeah, that's the one wish, that I would have been able to take him to Africa, because we spoke about that, right? And that we actually would have sat and did an interview, and he just didn't want to do it. And he's like, not yet, it's not time. All right, so we got no interview. We got a lot of conversation. All right, I got some footage of him talking some shit. I think I used to audio record. I go back to my old phones, audio record some conversations. We would sit and talk. He will audio record. Yo, he got some tapes. Wow, he got some tapes of us. He had the old fucking tape deck, shit that it pops open and you put the tape in and record. The old school recorders. He recorded some of our earlier conversations in 2011, 12, 13, 14. I got some video footage of him just talking, man, us just chatting, right, about all of the shit, all of the creative shit. Yeah. But give people their flowers. Give people their flowers. Let them know what they mean to you. Let them know how they've impacted your life. Right. And let them know now. It's no guarantee that tomorrow you'll wake up. There's no guarantee that tomorrow they'll wake up. All right. They may need to hear it today. Tell people what they mean to you. Yeah, man, my heart is like, I was literally physically hurting yesterday. Fucking hands noticeably shaking. Like, I'm like, yo, like, I dropped my phone when I read the message. Right, like, boom. Yeah, that was the father figure, man. Let's go to our fourth segment of the day, man. Today's fourth segment As always, our build of the day, and today's build is on the legacy that you are building. Every day you're building a legacy, intentionally or not, right? And so live like that shit, man. It's one thing my brother and I was talking about yesterday, my brother Ray and I, talking yesterday about Harvey, and we sat outside for a bit and just like sat in silence for a good part, right? Stood in silence for a while, cried, hugged, all right? And one thing that came up was that like Harvey had an incredible legacy and he lived like it, right? Like he lived every day striving to be better, right? Striving to do more, to impact lives. And even though like he didn't go outside as he got older, right? Like he was focused on his book and being locked in. Yo, he spent 12 years writing that fucking book, man, leaving the homie. People stopped believing that he would finish the book. People like, yo, I've been hearing about this shit for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, Harvey. Where's the book? I ain't seen no book yet. He's like, I'm working on it. And he was working on it. And I knew he was working on it because I was in the house. I was in his crib with him. I'm looking at the research. I've never seen the person's apartment look like his shit looked. Books everywhere, papers everywhere, shit taped on the wall, thumbtacked on the wall, right? Like I never seen that shit before, right? He used to go up to the Schomburg regularly, right? Yeah, man, that was yeah, he was my guy. And what's so dope is that he impacted everybody the same but differently, right? Like I said, he had programs, youth programs in the 80s, early 90s. I was never part of his youth programs, right? I was seeing him around. I remember the tall gray hair, right? I remember that. But I was never part of his programs. But again, my sisters, right, and their friends were part of his programs, and to see how he impacted them, right? When people used to be like Harvey, like especially people who ain't seen him in a while, people who moved away, came back, right? But like Harvey, when they would see him, right? My homegirl Shaka, right? He impacted her life in an incredible way. She was the person who interviewed me when I did my movie theater event back in 2024. And that was their first time seeing each other in a couple of years, right? He impacted her in the 80s, first computer program, right? She was in this program. Just the way like she was like, Harvey, and the way she spoke about him after, it was like, yo, he did this, he did that, he took us here, he showed us this, he taught us this. And then the way he spoke about her is like, man, like, and then again, so many other people whose lives he impacted when they were young, right? He was younger, they were younger. I didn't really connect with him until 2009. 2009, I was in a play. I was promoting the play. Told him about it. 2010, we did our opening show. I gave him a flyer, and he was there. He came. He bought a ticket. And he came to our fucking play. So yeah, man, like that was my guy, and he lived like he was building a legacy. All right. How you gonna be remembered? Right, like again, even just last year, sometime I think it was either around his birthday, after his birthday. I don't remember exactly when his birthday, September 30th, 1944. I don't remember exactly when, but at some point towards the end of last year, I was at his house, and he went through his old old awards, old certificates, old fucking paperwork, old shit he went through, news articles, right? New York Times called him the mayor of Queensbridge in I think 92, right? Yeah, man. Yeah. He, as well as a few others, many others, remind me that we absolutely need a Queensbridge Historical Museum. We need a Queensbridge Museum. The hip hop in Queensbridge, yes, all of that stuff in Queensbridge, but just the great people who are from Queensbridge, who came from Queensbridge, who walked through Queensbridge, who slept in Queensbridge, who worked in Queensbridge, right? So many great people, man. And Harvey was one of them. By far, one of the greatest people I've ever met. By far, one of the greatest people I've ever met. One of the most intelligent people I've ever met. One of the most creative people I've ever met. But yeah, man, my heart is like, I don't even know what it feels right now, because like it was some other shit that happened yesterday too that was just made the day extra heavy. But those two transitions, like, yeah, definitely. I cried outside, cried on the train. Yeah, and again, different reasons, different impacts, right? For Shanae, I cried a lot. Like her, she's young, right? I grew up with her, and I'm crying because I'm seeing the pain that like my sister is in, and like so many other friends are in, who this is one of their closest friends, right? Like that they've lost. And I'm like, it's deep, right? And then Harvey transitioned. I found out just a little bit later after. And I'm like, his transition is different. His impact on my life is Shanae and I are closer in age, right? Grew up together, spent more time together as youth. Harvey's probably the closest person to me, next to probably like a few people, right, over the last fucking 16 years. Like the amount of conversations that we've had about real life, about emotional shit, like manhood shit, right? Like marriages, his wife passed, right? Like just the different shit, like how he like impact is different. And so like two different things that just like kind of like ripped my heart, like confused me, because like it's different feelings. It's like the same day again. And then other shit that happened yesterday just created other emotions. It wasn't just sadness, it was anger, frustration. Yeah, man. But listen, I love you guys, man. We're gonna jump up the show, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Marston. Today's episode 656. Mona Love, baby girl. Thank you. Yes, show people that you love them. Absolutely. Author your meat. Yes. Peace and love. Thank you. Yeah, man. Episode 656. SRDaily. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place, 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, TikTok Live. Remember that getting knocked down is not the problem. Staying down is. So get up. The power is in you. As always, be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. Peace and love. Thank you. I love you too. Thank you.